In 1994, out of over 9,000 communities participating, Phoenix was recognized as having the best national night out event.
We did it. We did it.
Well, let's see now. I went to school at Maryvale. Actually, I started grade school, went to Cartwright. And then I went to Maryvale High School, went to Frank Borman Junior High. And now you guys get the premise. It's all from Maryvale. Homies from the Vale, Maryvale, see?
It's Thursday.
Actually, I'm a DJ on a
Local radio and television personality Super Snake has just wrapped up his shift.
And I get to do stuff for some of the TV stations.
Although Snake has not resided in the area since the late 1970s, he still has strong roots to the community. His parents remain in the Maryvale neighborhood where he was raised. As an outsider looking in, Snake has made some observations.
In my parents' neighborhood, I see people banding together in terms of wanting their street to stay their street, you know. And that's something that I applaud Maryvale for that, those people who have lived there. I mean, you've got to understand, these people who lived in that neighborhood have been there for a long time. They don't want to lose what was good about Maryvale, and that's what I like about the community. It was cool to go outside and, you know, play kick the can and hide and go seek with the kid down the street. It didn't matter that he was the Hispanic kid or the white kid. That's what you did. And I see that happening in certain parts of the area.
But actually, you don't know. We took like 40 takes to get him to make a shot.
No, we didn't. No.
From his humble middle-class beginnings, Snake now sits atop Phoenix's radio market. But he'll never forget where we came from.
You know, I'm proud that I come from Maryvale, and I'm proud that I went to Maryvale. And, you know, we've got some good people there. And some good people still live there. And some that are going to come out of there is going to be even better, hopefully. Don't be too better. I want to make some more money, okay?
In the late 1980s, this West Side teenager was working hard to fulfill her dream of becoming a famous singer.
Thank you very much. As my mother kept supporting me, I kept doing talent shows, weddings, clubs, anything I could do really to get exposure because, you know, back in the day, especially when you're in high school, when you can like win a talent show, that's like an extra $100 in your pocket. You're like, hey, I can go get a new outfit, that type of thing. So that made it good. Not only was I getting exposure, practice makes perfect type of thing, but I was winning a little cash flow at the same time.
By the early 1990s, she had parlayed these years of competing in talent contests into a major recording contract. Just weeks after her debut single, Finally, was released, the West Side's own CeCe Pennison was on top of the charts.
Finally, it was the top song in the country. This is a girl that went to school at Trevor Brown, went to junior college at Phoenix College. I mean, this was a girl that's from, quote unquote, the neighborhood.
It's like a dream come true, you know what I'm saying? There's so many ups and downs, you realize, okay, I know it's gonna happen for me one day, but when? And then when it happens on your first single, you're like, no, I can't believe it.
And CeCe Pennison was a great example of somebody who, man, look at this. This is the West Side girl. And she's doing well, really well. I mean, she's a big star. She's gone now. She's in Europe performing. CeCe, some coffee sometime.
Actually, she's back. Today, in one of her frequent visits back to Trevor Brown High, CeCe gives an impromptu performance for a group of lucky students. Since she's hit it big, CeCe's played before audiences at Woodstock, the Vatican, and even the President's inaugural. Memories she will never forget. But now, she's providing the memories, and these students will never forget this day. For them, CeCe represents so much. Local girl does good, that hard work pays off, but most of all, the dreams can come true.
He watches over me.
It's game day. Emotion runs high at Trevor Brown and Maryvale as students anticipate tonight's contest. Across town, another assembly is taking place.
My dream was to be the biggest dope dealer on the west side, and I damn near made that if I hadn't got caught. But I thank God I got caught, because it was wrong.
This morning, Kevin Mitchell of the Maryvale-based City Dads organization speaks to a group of impressionable seventh graders about his past life.
It's not a joke.
Just for clarification, the West Side gang he speaks of is not from the Maryvale area. However, Maryvale has seen its share of gangs in recent years.
When I was going to high school, there was gangs in Phoenix, not as predominant as they are now. They weren't. I couldn't say they were really identifiable. They had some names, but they weren't dressing up like they do now. All I remember is that we knew that a certain part of the cities, or kids that lived in a certain part of the city, or areas of the city, we knew that we didn't belong in.
When Paul Ferrero grew up in this West Phoenix neighborhood in the 1960s, the area was relatively gang-free. Ferrero is now a member of the Phoenix Police Department Gang Enforcement Unit. When he joined the force 20 years ago, Ferrero began seeing evidence that gangs had settled in some Maryvale neighborhoods.
There was an area, a town by the airport, that was a predominantly Hispanic gang, and it was again a third generational deep gang. But because of the freeway and the airport expansion, a lot of those families were relocated throughout the city, and a lot of them went into the Maryvale area. But what you started seeing is the graffiti going up in those neighborhoods, and it was that graffiti from the name of that gang that moved over there. One of the biggest things gang members do to a neighborhood is intimidate the neighborhood. Once they've intimidated the neighborhood, they've won it. And that's why I tell a lot of leaders in the community, or a lot of neighbors in these block watches, is that they have to take the community back. They should not be intimidated by the gang members. In fact, they should do the opposite. They should intimidate the gang members by being out in their yards, by observing what's going on, reporting any crimes that they observe, becoming good witnesses.
Take y'all neighborhoods back. I'm not saying you walk up to no big gang member, hey, I want my hood homes. You don't do that, because you're going to get hurt. It's a way to do it.
For the most part, Maryvale has found the way. Paint over graffiti. Check. Clean up the neighborhoods. Make an effort to fill those vacant homes. Check. Organize the people on your block. Report crime. Check. But how about preventing the youth from getting involved in the first place and providing a way out for those who can't find one? Today, City Dads Stefan and Damien have a roundtable meeting with a group of teenagers. The discussion is informal and guided by two guys that have been there.
I used to sit up and just think sometimes, what I'm gonna be doing in the next 5, 10 years? You know what I'm saying? Am I gonna be doing the same old thing, hanging out on these street corners?
It gets boring, it gets old.
It gets old, man. You get tired of it. You get tired of seeing your homies die. You get tired of seeing people go to jail, you know what I'm saying?
Hopefully, through the efforts of groups such as City Dads, future generations of West Valley youth will not fall victim to the gang life. But even with all of these worthy endeavors, the demon wins the heart of the most steadfast soul. And tonight, a turf war will take place on the West Side. It's not the Sharks and the Jets, but the Bruins and the Panthers. On one side, they wear black and gold. The other, brown and orange. A civil war played out under lights that burn with intensity. A not-so-friendly feud between neighbors. The air swirls with an edgy sensation as the Panthers flirt with the end zone, only to be turned back. An anxious Jay Hinton watches from the sidelines. Without him, the Panther offense flounders, putting an already high-strung Tom Bruni in an even more anxious disposition. Trevor Brown strikes first, midway through the second quarter. The Bruin touchdown serves as a wake-up call to the Panther offense. At the threshold of a score, Maryvale answers in acrobatic fashion to tie the contest. The teams head to the locker room deadlocked at 6.
I think the officers observed a traffic.
For your halftime entertainment, we travel 4 miles southeast of the stadium, where Ferrero and the gang unit are also in action.
As soon as the car was stopped, the subject started to get out of the car. When the officers approached, they observed the guns to be on the front seat.
Only a half hour later and a half mile away, Ferrero assists a DPS officer who has pulled over a motorist for driving erratically on I-10. Again, a weapon is found. It should be stated that in both cases this evening, the occupants of the vehicles were not from the Maryvale area. Yet, for whatever reason, they ended up here. At least tonight, their weapons are in the right hands. The streets of the West Side still have their share of gangs, but Ferrero has witnessed a change in this neighborhood near 51st Avenue and Encanto.
Oh, I'd say probably about 1978 we saw the first hint of gang problems in this area where a particular family moved in. It seemed that once this family moved in, they started recruiting younger Hispanic males in the neighborhood, and they formed a little street gang. And they really intimidated this neighborhood on the West Side. But I'd say in the last 3-4 years, the neighborhood has started to take it back by getting the community together, conducting block watches, starting to take care of their property, hitting over the graffiti, and it's pretty much they've pretty much taken their community back from the gang members.
Back at Maryvale High, it's the fourth quarter with the game still tied at 6. Thus far, the matchup has been a tense defensive struggle. Normally, Coach Tom Bruni wears his emotions on his sleeve, but tonight, he's kept a secret. With his offense at a standstill, Bruni makes his secret known. On his first play, Hinton is welcomed into the game by his Trevor Brown neighbors. His week layoff recovering from his injury is clearly evident on the next play. Even the return of their star running back can't get the Maryvale offense going. And then, in the brief seconds it takes for this to play out, you can see a coach age right before your eyes. For this year anyway, Maryvale attends the right to be called Pride of the West Side. The battle has been waged, but even after the war is over, the neighbors are one again. Only a few miles separate the schools, and in some cases, only a few feet separate the homes of the opponents. For one night a year, the neighbors clash. Tomorrow, they continue their battle in the real world. For now, they are winning.